As you can tell, I already started carving some of this. Last night I had a rough night, couldn't sleep, so came out here and started carving. So one of the things you want to make sure you do when you're carving is you have to hold your piece. And let me actually raise the camera up. So everything's going to be out of whack. You want to hold your piece, but you don't want to put your hand in front of your blade, because if it slips, you're going to hurt yourself. So I usually hold it off to the side, depending on the way I'm working. I've had some close calls, so do be careful. It's very easy to do that. I'm going to touch this up just a little bit. Being that it's curved, you can't just go this way. I like to go with the curve on this. It doesn't take much, just a little bit more of an edge on there. That's pretty sharp. So now I am, oh, there we go. Oops. Nuts. Let me raise that back up. Oh, nuts. Alright. I need to find a better way to mount my camera. Let's put it this way. There we go. That's better. The problem is I may have mentioned it before, it's an IV pole that I'm using for my camera mount, and it's one of those twist lock things, so if I want to raise it or lower it, I have to untwist it and then twist it back up to tighten it. That has its own problems, because get rid of that piece of wood. There's too many pieces. Alright, so let me pull this back a little bit. Now, I need my glasses to see what I'm doing. And, alright, where do I want to start? I'm actually going to work over here a little bit more. So, going around this edge, I don't want to go over the edge because I like to having that bevel there. So I actually, I don't know if you can see it. Let me pull this back some. Actually, I like to hold it against my stomach to wedge it in there, and I have enough of a belly that it holds it in place. And then I hold it firmly over here, and that way, when I put pressure down the cut, it's firmly in place. You can clamp your piece down. I tend to rotate mine a lot when I'm carving. This just is what works best for me. If you're doing a small piece, like a really small piece, and you're using a knife or something, I don't recommend doing it on your leg, but unless you get something like a heavy piece of leather to put over, because that way if you do slip, you're not going to gouge your leg out. But yeah, I like to, if you wiggle it like this, then you can, now having the paper on is nice to see where you're cutting, but I want to use my knife here to cut this piece out here, so I don't actually split the wood and what was I going to say? Split the wood out. It's easy to do that, and you have an oops. So It doesn't take a whole lot of pressure. If you have to apply a great deal of pressure, then it's either you have a knot in the wood that you're trying to work through, or your blade's not sharp enough. Your knife isn't sharp enough. So always make sure you have a very sharp edge. But for me, this is, like I said, this is the way I like to do it. I'll be honest, I'm self-taught. This is really my third piece that I've hand carved. I could just push it along, but I'm trying to be careful and not, with this being pine, it wants to tear out really easy. And this is the way I found to do it without getting a lot of tear out. Now, the other thing I will say is, well, to be honest, I don't remember what I was going to say. Alright. I know some of the image is hard to see, but if I do that, then you can see it. So I was cutting along to get the edges of the images there. Now, if I'm in a position where it's not safe for me to hold it here, I can put my hand over on this side and hold it that way. It's all about trying to find a comfortable way to hold it safely. Oops, see, that's what I mean when your tool slips. I'm not worried about it pulled the paper up, because I know what it says. Now, in this case here, let me lower this down so you can see a little closer. So here it's a bit narrow, so instead of doing the bottom of the curve, I'm going to do the side of the curve, and I can get through that and do the other direction. Oops, see, be careful when you're wood carving. Go the other direction and finish the cut. Now, part of the problem is with wetting the paper like that, it also softens the wood underneath. It makes it a little bit more difficult to cut cleanly. So now, fear not, if I do happen to slip and cut myself, I will not put that in the video. I don't know, maybe that'd be a good lesson. I like to teach it by bad example. So, I'm hesitant to pull these off because that might tear out. So instead, I'm going to go this way and cut them off at the bottom. Never carve this way, because guess what? It's right to your belt. Oh, can't see what I'm doing. Never carve towards you, because then you get a hole in your belly. You don't want that. So I can, another knife that you could use instead of the little hobby knife, might actually work better for something like this, would be like a box cutter, because that blade's a little stiffer. So let me use switch knives. In that narrow spot I showed you, I probably should have used this one. It's a smaller tip. I can get through better too. Here we go. Ah, crap. See, now it's wet and it's slippery. Slippery when wet. I probably need to let that dry. Now, how is it going to look when it's finished? I don't know yet, because let's press down and cut that off. I actually have some access to some thin sheet copper, and I'm actually thinking of putting some dimension to the eagle and then getting a copper and making the eagle out of copper, and then pounding it down in so it has dimension to it. Thinking about that. I don't know for sure yet, but that would look cool. I want this one. And of course, if I do that, there will be some videos on that. I don't know how deep I'm going to go with this area. That remains to be seen yet. So, I know I'm rotating it around. I'm trying to find a comfortable way to do this so that it shows up on video. Now, this has like a scalloped edge to it. I'm not too worried about that right now because I'm roughing it out. I can either make it look rough, or I can use my hobby knife to put some definition to the edge. Personally, I like the rough look. But I will decide that once I have most of this roughed out. I might even use my Dremel with a tip to do some of the detail. I don't know yet. So I like to rough it out first and then see what I can do. Now, the downside is you can only cut once. You can't put the wood back after you cut it, so sometimes I'll take a few days to think about what I'm doing, just to make sure that's what I want to do. So that's probably all I'm going to do at the moment because dogs are barking. Oops. And it looks so far. Push that down. Gotta figure out this camera stuff. So, still lots to do. Something you could do is, especially if you get off most of the paper layer, spray it with a clear lacquer or something like that, or spray paint. Just some cheap stuff that you get at the dollar store. And that'll set everything and make it easier to carve without the paper shredding off. That fixes the paper to the wood. Just another tip. In fact, I should finish pulling this paper off and make it easier to see. Yep. Sometimes it's really easy to do, sometimes let's pull everything off. So, hope the sound is a little bit better. I have my headset on. I will try to make improvements on my videos as I do them. There we go. Pulled off a whole bunch. Anyway, hope everybody had a good Easter, and see you in the next video.